So I'll introduce myself, and Michael can introduce himself, and then we'll give you a little bit on the background of this. So my name is Bill Azen. I own Wealth of Health here in Idaho Falls. And one of the questions Morgan asked, why am I involved in this? I was born in Ukraine, as a matter of fact, in Odessa. If you're following the news right now, it's in the center of the attention and controversy because it's a major seaport. And that was Putin's goal from the beginning. And now it's starting to come to fruition because they've signed an agreement to start exporting grain, with Turkey being a mediator. And the moment they signed the agreement, Russians started bombing Odessa. So they cannot be trusted, obviously. They'll have to work through this. So that's my personal, of course, interest in this right from the beginning. And Michael, you can introduce.
I'm not Ukrainian. I'm actually born and bred in Idaho. Twin Falls. I graduated high school in Twin Falls and then moved here to Idaho Falls with my family. My dad's Will Kesley. I don't know if you know him with Santo Media. I was living in Thailand from the end of last year with my wife doing humanitarian work. We felt like we needed to save up a bunch of money and quit our jobs and move because we just felt like we needed to go somewhere to help. And so when the war in Ukraine started, oddly enough, all the things we had lined up in Thailand fell through. And so we knew exactly why we were there and what our purpose was. I took off from there and went to Poland, and that's basically where the story starts.
And so my story, we were actually overseas when the war started, and Will, as Michael's dad, says, I'm going to Ukraine. And this was 5 days after the war started, which was the 24th of February. So I said, I would love to go with you, but I just physically cannot. So I bought him an airline ticket. Nobody thought this was going to go as long as it has. We thought this was going to be over. Hey, you go, do whatever, and it'll be all done. So now 5 months later, we're back at it. So then when I got back, I knew this was going to be repetitive trips. And so I got involved, and we've both been there now twice, 4 times now. Yeah. And I'm going back in 4 weeks, and your dad is going back, I believe, with me. And thank you foremost for giving us the forum here, because potentially what you guys are doing, and you have experience with these fundraisers, is going to help us out quite a bit. The big difference with what we're doing, the distance. This is not a local fundraiser where you can ask for a bunch of stuff to be delivered to a shelter or to some person. We're dealing with 5,000 miles, and transportation, logistics are a huge, huge challenge. To be able to ship stuff to Poland because of the Polish law, they have to have a government-approved nonprofit center in Poland to receive any kinds of donations. There are a few of those, but it's, again, a challenge. What we can take with us, and thanks to the airlines, Delta, United, have been letting 5 or 6 bags, depending on who you beg and ask, to go free of charge. So we've taken medical supply, a lot of stuff is light, we can repack it in bigger boxes. But, after we met and I thought about, I had a nightmare about the massive amount of clothes and shoes that will show up in the parking lot. And I said, how the heck am I going to get it to home? But we're going to work on that. If that actually happens with the diapers, possibly, we have a few contacts that could possibly deliver the stuff. So the biggest thing for us, and you will see where we're spending the money, obviously is money, because it gives us the flexibility to buy stuff there, deliver it there, makes it a lot easier. And then the second question that Paul raised in our meeting last week is the trust with these nonprofits, and who the United Nations agency comes in and says, we're going to move you out of here, put our own sign there, and that's a typical publicity stunt that they do. And then the bureaucracy destroys the operation. So David said, I'm not just going to walk away, so he leaves, finds a vacant business building or a office building, completely redoes it for refugee, and says we need help with bedding and washers, dryers, all that stuff. So Michael, while we were buying food, Michael was shopping for IKEA beds, a washer and dryer. I don't know if you have a picture for that.
We got them some tools as well. They wanted to take some pictures to show off.
So this office building now becomes a transitory 1 to 4 days for about 30, 40 people. And the great thing about this David guy, he's very well connected in Europe, so he can now direct people and say, you want to go to Ireland, I can help you. You want to go to Sweden, I can help you. You want to go to Lithuania, I can help you. There's jobs, there's stuff. The European governments stepped up and basically waived visa requirements and entry requirements and said, we have a need for these people, teachers in particular, tutors in particular, come without any restrictions. Unlike them, United States said, we're going to take in 100,000 refugees. That was the official State Department. However, you cannot work. You have to be 100% reliant on a sponsor that brings you in. So imagine you want to help out and you're bringing in a family or a single mom or a mom and a kid. Up to 2 years, you've got to be 100% responsible for their finances, transportation, medical, everything. They're not allowed to work legally other than under the table. So that was the big difference. So a lot of the European countries did help out and stepped up big time. So that was, we call it Hotel David, but he's got a nonprofit set up, and so that's one of the groups where we're helping on a daily basis with water, with toiletry kits as they come in for 1 to 4 days, little sample kits. We have a couple of church projects right now here in Idaho Falls who asked, what can we do to help? So we said that's a great project, is put together little Ziploc bags of sample toothpaste, toothbrush, comb, whatever it is, because they will come in and they will move out.
This is the second of the centers that we've taken under our wing. This is called the Hotel Maria. It was set up by a Polish gentleman. Abandoned hotel. It's now housing 200 women and children. Little things like buying clips for their laundry. A few hundred of those. The women here are on a rotating schedule. They cook, they clean. It's a very organized, very kind system. Everyone that lives here contributes. So this particular Center Maria, we took again under our wing. The Polish gentleman provides protein and starch, meat and potatoes. We provide everything else. So fresh fruits, veggies. We bought watermelons one trip because they haven't had them. Diapers.
Yeah. They do get other contributions from the locals. It's a small village about an hour away from Krakow. It's perfect. It's a beautiful setup. And some of them have been able to find jobs on the farms, cleaning offices, cleaning buildings. So it's a great, great place. 2 Ukrainian women who showed very enthusiastic approach to managing are now running it, 2 refugees, and we help them out as much as we can.
Lastly, medical supplies. I don't know if any of you are diabetic or have family members that are diabetic, but imagine leaving a country without anything, maybe your monthly supply of insulin, getting to a new country where they do not supply the insulin that you've been prescribed and that you need. They don't have the test strips that you need. They don't have anything. The Polish government has said that they can get free healthcare, but they don't produce the type of insulin that they need. So, I talked to a few people who knew a clinic in England. Oh, this is a request from a doctor in Ukraine. We'll talk about that as well. Who said, our unit is throwing away a bunch of leftover insulin. If you want it, come and get it. As well as some surgical supplies, other medicines that we probably can't talk about. And because they're medicines you can't really talk about, I had to drive them back myself. All the way back. You can't check that kind of luggage.
No customs and immigration at the airport.
And the reason this is so important, like we've talked about already, these big organizations can do a lot. They do a lot of good. But what sets us apart and how we need your help is giving us the strength and ability to do things like this, because they help people like Igor, who had no more insulin, and when this arrived, it's just a month and a half supply that we could spare for him. He broke down and said, "Thank you for saving me."
And the other thing with insulin, which is, again, there are some things you don't even think about that hit you there. They're asking their friends to mail the proper insulin from Ukraine or from whatever. It comes in dead. They wind up in a hospital emergency in Poland trying to figure out what's going on, and then the doctor says, well, this insulin is completely useless. They've never been trained or told about refrigeration or having ice packs on shipping. And this is one of those things where when you drove, dealing with that. I was stuck in Frankfurt airport with missed flights and missed connections, which is a massive nightmare right now when he was driving through the tunnel, right?
Took the channel, but
Yeah, the channel.
So thank you for giving us the time to be here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being willing to just be a part of something bigger